Jezebel Part 2 by Dana Elizabeth. Please take a moment, like and subscribe before we begin. You are so annoying, Sasha said, kicking her sister's clothes that were scattered on the floor, blocking her path as she walked from the loft to the kitchen. Sasha woke up and decided to make her and her twin breakfast. It was obvious that Tasha had a hangover. She mumbled a snide comment to Tasha and rolled over, adjusting her position on the couch, and covered her head with the blankets. Blah, 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 Sasha responded as she continued to the kitchen to prepare their meal. Sasha turned on some music and went into chef mode, slicing and dicing some fresh ingredients for a hearty breakfast. The savory aroma filled the house to the brim and summoned Tasha to the kitchen to see what was on the menu. "What the heck happened last night?" Sasha said, questioning her twin. Tasha tilted her head to the side, blinked slowly, and let out a sinister chuckle and replied, "You're so nosy." "I'm not nosy," replied her sister. "You were loud," she said, instantly correcting her sister from the nosy accusation. "I know you were spying on that damn ring cam," Tasha said, circling her hands and placing them up to her face as if she was staring through a pair of binoculars. "I damn sure was," Sasha said as she laughed out loud at her sister's impression of how she looked while spying. "Well," she said as she handed Tasha a healthy plate of breakfast, "well." Tasha's eyes got big, seeing the delicious food her sister had prepared. Eggs, sausage, grits, home fries loaded with peppers and onions. "Yummy. Thank you, twin," she said as she accepted the food. She bowed her head and said a prayer and began to eat and open up about her night that seemingly ended in a disagreement. "Well," she began, "Quincy was all in his feelings because I went on a date with his brother." "His brother?" Sasha interrupted with a shocked and confused tone. "Well, technically they're not blood brothers, but they grew up together," Tasha continued. "And yes, I don't know why he's so upset. He has a whole nother woman at home, and we agreed that there were no strings attached. Now, it's okay for him to flirt and talk to my friends, but as soon as I do it, it's a big problem." Tasha shrugged her shoulders and said, "He made the rules, not me." "Y'all were so loud," Sasha said as she pulled her chair closer to her sister because she wanted to be comfortable as she listened to the details about the disagreement Quincy and Tasha had. "I could hear him screaming through the phone, and he sounded furious." "And was," Tasha said, confirming that Quincy was quite angry with her actions. "So, anyway," she continued as she sipped her coffee from the huge yellow coffee cup that sat beside her plate steaming. "To be honest, I have no clue why his old ass is so upset we didn't do anything. It wasn't planned. I never even met him in person. I was leaving work, going to grab something to eat, and walked into the restaurant, and his friend, Phil, was sitting there in the waiting area. I was shocked because I only met him once on FaceTime, so when he spoke to me, I was shocked that he even recognized me." "Anyway," Tasha said, releasing a sigh, "the hostess told me that she could take my order and that the wait would be 30 minutes. I knew I should have ordered online, but I didn't." Phil overheard the hostess and asked me, did I want to go somewhere else to eat because she told him the same thing. "I don't really know you," I said. And I just smiled, and I sat there for a moment. We started a conversation. It lasted maybe 5 minutes, and it was cool. And he asked me again, do I want to go somewhere else? So, honestly, I wasn't sure how to respond because it sounded like a setup to me. "It sounds like a setup to me too," Sasha interrupted. "So," Tasha continued, "we talked for about another 5 minutes, and his vibes felt very cool. So I agreed to go with him to another restaurant to eat, and that's literally all we did. I did have a few drinks, but I didn't get sloppy. Phil actually drove me home, and my car is still in the parking lot. Speaking of which, after we get dressed, I need a ride." Sasha just looked at her sister and shook her head. "So, all of that yelling and screaming was because you had dinner with his play brother?" "Yep," Tasha said, laughing and throwing her hands in the air. "Something doesn't sound right," Sasha began. "Do you feel like that was a test?" she questioned her sister. Tasha took a moment to think, and she squinted her eyes and responded by shaking her head with a very confused look on her face. "Set up or not, I didn't do anything. Now he's threatening to take the car and not give me access to his credit cards anymore. At this point, I'm not even stressed because he does this all the time." "True," Sasha added, agreeing with Tasha. "I asked him, was that some sort of game they both were playing? Because I honestly just don't believe in coincidences." Just look up the root word, coincide, which means things are supposed to come together. So I don't know, but I am not about to go down some rabbit hole with you, Tasha said, rolling her eyes. Sasha always had a theory about something. She was also highly intuitive. Sometimes she could see things that her sister couldn't. She did not like Quincy. He was 17 years older than Tasha, and he was living a double life. Sasha did not respect Quincy, and she felt like he was leading Tasha down the wrong path, a path that would bring her years, maybe even decades of bad karma. Sasha had a long discussion with Tasha about changing her ways. She felt like Quincy amplified Tasha's bad behavior. She has become more toxic by the day since she met him. Sasha stayed away from him because the first time they ever met, she saw evil in his eyes. Not just any evil. It was very demonic. He just looked like someone who abused animals as a child. But more importantly, he was grooming Tasha to be comfortable with being a side chick or a mistress. He was buying her and using her as if she was an object. Tasha was beautiful. She was 25 and she had so much life ahead of her. Quincy, on the other hand, was very low vibrational, and all he did was yell and fight with Tasha. Every time he got upset with her, he would punish her by disappearing for weeks on end and going home to play house with his wife. It was all very sickening, and Sasha could not discern why her sister thought she was winning in the situation. Honestly, the wife and Tasha were both losers because Quincy bounced back and forth between the two women like a ping pong ball in an Olympic competition. Well, all I'm going to say is watch yourself with him. He seems mentally unstable and abusive, Sasha warned. He sounded demonic through the phone. That kind of anger just makes me feel like something's going to happen. He sounded as if he wanted to snap. I had a dream last night, Sasha began. Oh God, Tasha said, standing up, walking to the sink to put her breakfast plate away. Not another one of your dreams. Sasha was known in her community for her gift of discernment. Ever since she was a child, she could predict things. Some would call her a psychic, but Sasha never received that title. She just always explained to others that her vision and ability to predict the future was a gift from God that was passed down from her grandmother, who also had the gift of vision. Sasha told her sister to be quiet and listen. There was an awkward pause as she sat still for a moment, staring at Tasha. Sasha was remembering the dream. I had a dream last night, she said again, repeating herself. In the dream, Quincy was over here for some reason. Anyway, a girl pulled up in a truck to the house. Actually, it was a blue SUV with tinted windows. But she wasn't driving. She was fat too, but she was a pretty girl. Anyway, she was trying to tell us that Quincy was the father of her child. She was holding a baby. But he blocked us from going outside and told her to stay away from our house. It was like he was protecting us from something. It was strange. She seemed very upset. Sasha stopped talking and started to walk back towards her bedroom. Aren't you going to finish the story? Tasha said, confused and sitting on the edge of her chair, waiting and wanting to hear more. There's nothing else to say, she said, as she closed her bedroom door. Tasha was left confused. Oh, wait, she replied, speaking from behind the cracked door. You need to leave that man alone. He's not stupid. He's just playing dumb so he can have his cake and eat it too. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more short stories.